Ideally, of course, every painter wishes his paintings to speak for themselves. Really, I think very few painters like to talk about the paintings, and in very many cases they feel they are weakening the impact of their paintings by speaking about them. But symbols, if they are truly symbols, do carry meaning, and I believe something can be said to not elucidate the picture, not to explain the picture, but to give an insight into the ideas behind the image. Probably no more than that. It is really the provision of a way in for the viewer. But to know what the picture is about is not the same thing as to understand the painting. People say, I don't understand this painting. What they really mean is, I don't recognize the image. I don't recognize the sign. I don't understand or recognize the symbol. Picasso used to say, when people said, well, I don't understand what this is about, he said, do you need to understand the song of a bird? A painter paints like a bird sings. And it is as clear and direct an expression of his experience as the song of a bird is for the bird. But since people do like to have the meaning behind things illumined and conveyed to them, let me just try to talk a little bit about my paintings. Some of them I shall be able to say something about, and some of them perhaps not so much about. Many of them I know what they're about in some kind of inner, intuitive way, without being able to put that necessarily into words. In this case, the picture on the screen, which is called Chalice, I can really say something about. This is an image which represents the cosmic spiritual heart center, from whose center flows the energy we call love. And I think the greatest compliment I have ever been paid in terms of recognition of the expressive power of my paintings is when someone I know saw that painting, knew nothing about it, had never seen it before, and said, I don't know why, but that to me represents the Christ. The Christ we know is the Lord of love, embodies the energy we call love. And it would appear, at least to her, seeing the original, this of course is hardly even the beginning of reality in terms of the original, which is about 8 feet high and 6 feet wide. That to me shows that something about that picture does convey, or conveyed at least to her, the energy we call love. I saw it, of course, in a very profound state. It was implanted in my mind by my master. And as I saw it, what I saw was space, endless, infinite space of that background color. And in that space, a colossal shape like that, which was made of fire, blue and white fire, which was moving constantly, and yet at the same time held that shape. It is a hard thing to describe, and a very hard thing to do, to take a moving, flaming object which is constantly changing its form and yet retaining its form, how to convey that on a flat surface, two-dimensional form, with color and shape in such a way as to convey the image and the impact of that colossal cosmic force. And in the center is that the original is more golden colored than that shows a kind of molten golden fire from which poured out the energy we call love. And in the experience, one felt absolutely clearly and definitely the energy which is love, which is embodied on this planet by the Christ. This, of course, and I'm sure this is true for all painters, This to me is a pale image of the reality I saw in the inner state of meditation and with the inner eye. But as all painting is, it's a convention, a sign, and hopefully too a symbol of that cosmic reality. This is the same image in man. This is man's spiritual heart center. The picture itself is called lotus. As the original, the cosmic center is called the chalice. This represents the chalice of the heart in the human being. It is the spiritual heart center at the right-hand side of the chest. Many of you will know in the Bible, there's a saying, the wise man's heart is at the right side, the foolish man's heart is at the left. That right side heart is the spiritual heart center in which, at a certain moment in man's evolution, the energy of evolution, which we call the Christ principle, the Christ consciousness, is esoterically lit. It is then fanned to a flame by the Masters and the Christ and brings the disciple to the point of initiation. It is seen here on the even-armed cross of Aquarius. In this age of Aquarius, humanity as a whole, not simply as individuals, but the mass of humanity will awaken to the Christ principle in the spiritual heart center. And in that very real sense, the Christ will manifest throughout the world through humanity. This is only possible today because of the presence in the world of the Christ himself, who embodies that energy. It flows from him to us. He embodies that energy and is therefore the Christ. And as he awakens it in the hearts of men, so as it blossoms, the new age proceeds. The cross of Aquarius will become what it is, a major symbol for the age, that even-arm cross, which will demonstrate the discipleship of the human race. Here we have number 3. It is called the flaming diamond. The flaming diamond, from the esoteric point of view, represents a great rod of initiation. There are 2 major rods of initiation. This one, the flaming diamond, which is wielded by the Lord of the world, Sanat Kumara, on Shambhala at the 3rd and higher initiations. It is charged, activated at the beginning of each world cycle by energy from the sun, electrical fire from the sun, which is held in that rod, which is an etheric matter. And there is also a lesser rod, which is wielded by the Christ, the Lord Maitreya, at the first 2 initiations. This will become a reality for the vast majority of humanity in this coming age, because instead of initiation being an experience for a few individuals here and there, as it has been over the millennia and even today, in this coming time, the Christ will go from country to country, and in the temples of the time will initiate thousands upon thousands of men and women in group formation into the hierarchy through the portals of initiation, with the energy streaming to him and through him from the rod of initiation. When people have taken the first 2, they can then come to the readiness for the 3rd initiation when they come before the Lord of the world. And that is the deep and altogether deeper meaning of the statement by the Christ that he is the way. No man can come unto the Father except through me. This, of course, has been interpreted by the Christian groups in a totally exclusive way, meaning that no man can know God unless he becomes part of the Christian tradition and accepts the dogmas and doctrines which are entirely man-made. The meaning is altogether different. It means no man can come before the Father, Sanat Kumara, the Lord of the world, at the third and higher initiations, who has not before that stood before the Christ and from him received the accolade of the first and second initiations with the great rod of power. This number 4 is called the central spiritual sun. There are 3 suns in this solar system. We see only one of them, the outer physical sun, from which is emitted a great fire by friction. There is an inner sun which emits solar fire, the energy which we call love. And within that again is another sun, the central spiritual sun, from which is emitted electrical fire. And these 3 fires, electrical, solar, and fire by friction, make up all that we see and know and touch and experience in our physical world. This number 5 is called Solar Angel 1. There are 2 versions here. This is number 1. Some of you will remember it having been used on the cover of Share International magazine. The solar angel represents our true identity. All of us are souls in incarnation. Our true nature is as individualized parts of one great angel, deva, whose name is Lucifer. So often I am asked on programs, interviews, and radio and television about the nature of Lucifer, and the common idea is that Lucifer is Satan, the devil. Nothing could be further from the truth. Lucifer embodies the whole of humanity. Lucifer is a great angelic being, the oversoul of all the souls of humanity. And the fall of Lucifer from heaven in the Bible is a symbolic only account of the descent into incarnation some 18.5 million years ago, according to the esoteric teachings, of the human souls for the first time. The human souls, according to the plan of the Logos, descended, fell, as it were, from paradise, where they are perfect, into flesh, into the human kingdom, and the story of the human kingdom began all these millions of years ago. The story of Adam and Eve in the Bible symbolizes this descent from paradise. It was not by accident, but the result of the evolutionary plan of for this evolution by the Lord of the world, reflecting the Logos of the planet. Again, it is seen as fire because that is the nature of the solar reality. We are souls. We are perfected beings, perfect expressions or emanations from the planetary Logos, whose nature is fire. This solar Logos, solar angel 2, is another later painting of the same subject, the solar angel. This time, of course, as you can see, covering more of the actual area of the canvas. So it has a different relationship to what we would call the background, the positive and the negative aspects, the foreground or image and background have a different tension, different relationship. This is something which is a purely perhaps personal interest and meaning for the artist himself. When an artist does more than one version of a subject, he is generally exploring all the possible insights, all the possible ways in which he can give expression to the same idea. There is not one single form or one single image, one single painting which can probably fully express the meaning of the symbol which he is seeking to illuminate in his painting. This, number 7, is called Flame Color Deva. The devas are angels and part of a quite separate evolution from man. There are many very different types and levels of devas. It's an unbelievably complex evolution which is parallel to the human evolution. And it is part of the plan, the long-term plan, that eventually the evolution of humanity, man, and that of the Deva kingdom, the angelic kingdom, will come together in the divine hermaphrodite. The human kingdom providing the male, positive aspect of that reality, and the Deva, the feminine aspect to the reality. We are the sons of mind and develop through the perfection of mind. Devas or angels are the daughters of feeling and develop through the perfection of feeling. When these two things are united in the divine hermaphrodite, great part of the divine plan will be fulfilled. This is something in the far, far distant future. This painting is symbolizes one of these devas, the flame-color devas. There are white devas, gold devas, blue devas, violet devas, green devas, and all sorts of combinations of these on different levels, different planes. This flame-color deva is shown here in its relative color against the background of its own space of etheric matter, which is identified here in the painting by the continuance of the form, the fire, out into space. We are living in really a notion of etheric energy, which again is an aspect of fire. And ourselves, our human bodies, and the bodies of devas are really nothing more than accumulations, condensations of that etheric energy in a far more complex way through a series of vortices. As the lines of force crisscross and crisscross, they form vortices which provide the channels for the incoming and the outgoing of the energies which all of us demonstrate. So it is with the Deva and angelic kingdom. The time is coming in the relatively very near future when the human kingdom and the Deva kingdom will work in the closest harmony. I know many groups at the present moment claim contact with and working with the Deva kingdom, but I believe personally that is more wish fulfillment than reality. But there is no doubt at all that in the relatively near future, under the stimulus of the presence of the Christ and the hierarchy of masters, that contact with the Deva kingdom, which at the moment is rather dangerous, will take place under control and under guidance and completely safely.